morning, Tartarian hunters. We are live here at Tartaria, Australia with co-host Cambell, Good Day Auto Didactic, back on live with us.
Oh, hello.
And
hello,
we have a special guest with us today, Joe Gifford, who is, well, what am I going to say about you, Joe? We're a light language communicator, which I just think, I mean, we'll start the show off by saying, to me, the light language is the vocabulary of our future. If we're going to be looking at communication and what it's going to sound like and feel like moving through into the new earth realm, I think it's got to be light language. So Joe's here as a truth seeker, and she's going to do some a reading for us today and see what channels through on Tartaria, Australia.
Yeah, just call me the Australian Tarot by Janine. So it'll be Tarot by Joe.
Awesome. So
Tartaria Tarot.
Yes.
So because we term the phrase Tartaria Transformational Consciousness. So when we look at Tartaria, we're just not looking from sort of the old realm revealing itself to us in the buildings and the architecture and putting that narrative together. There's also a big push of understanding who we are in all of this, what our sovereignty is about, what our God beings are capable of, and everything to do with our consciousness. And Cambell and I were having a great dialogue the other night where we really have started to understand that Tartaria has broken through to a new level of truth seeker consciousness. And as a result, it's matching the highest consciousness of the spiritual community as well. So it's like this massive, beautiful peak sitting right now on the truth seeking spiritual light workers, starseed communities. And so it really does bring everyone together under this new realm of understanding. So it's really exciting to start to see that play out. Cambell, how's your week been, buddy?
I thought Joe might say something. Yeah, no, totally. This is, I mean, it's all part of the Great Awakening, isn't it? All this information, it didn't exist really. It definitely in the Western consciousness, even 8 years ago, it's probably 7 years old, maybe. But the thing is, it's not, well, for one thing, it's not bad, right? It's not negative. You know, it's a bit sad that we lost it, but it comes from a positive place, and it shows us what we achieved and what we can achieve again. It's not this focus on the world's dark and full of evil people and they've done this to us and this to us. It's more like, wow, look what we did. Let's get it back again. Let's get rid of these trolls. And so yeah, it's definitely it's spreading fast. Yeah, the Tartarian consciousness.
Transformational consciousness.
Yes.
Transformational.
Well, when I came across it, like I've been a spiritual person all of my life. I've always been on this journey of understanding myself, understanding what it is to be a human being. Why are we the way that we are? What makes us see the world in a certain way? Why do we have the perspectives we do? So when the Tartaria stuff just popped up in my radar, just out of like serendipity, I knew there was something to this. I knew that this was an important, something important to include in my spiritual contemplations. And exactly what you're saying, Kelly, that it's representative of, we've been lied to about certain truths, about the planet, about our history. And if they've lied about that, what else do we not know? And who are we truly? Who have we been told we are? And can we be something greater? So when it came up in my radar, like I really trust what comes to me. I've found information out on this it sort of has its own unfolding. It's very determined. It's very, it's not accidental at all. So the Tartaria stuff, it was fascinating, and it's really grabbed my my imagination. And I would now call myself a Tartaria fan. I am fascinated with all aspects of it. But my history is like, you know, I'm not all sort of love and light and oming and all of this and yoga person at all. My spiritual journey began, and I have been running at the same time as being spiritual. I've been a truther. I've understood many sort of alternative viewpoints. Like, I read Bill Cooper's book fairly quickly after it first came out. So I heard him talk 30 odd years ago when he was still around.
You're the fucking old guard, Joe. You're the old guard. We're all the old guard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read Behold a Pale Horse. We were just talking a minute ago about Alternative 3, which was a science show broadcast in Britain, I believe, sometime in the 80s, which was really alternative, which was saying that, again, that what we think is the truth about this planet isn't necessarily the truth. That there were in the works 3 things planned for the future of the planet. And one of them was depopulation, the other one was going underground, and the other one was heading to Mars. Now, what is Mars? What was that all about? I don't think we have a definitive answer for that, guys. I know that we have lots of different camps about, is there space? Is it salt water? Is it just outside the dome? Where is it? But I think what that show showed was there's something other that we're not being told.
Yeah.
So these concepts have been sort of rolling around in my mind for many years. And the Tartaria thing only came up, I believe, the beginning of this year, I think, for me. So, and in that time, I noticed when I saw it, it came up everywhere. Everybody was talking about it in really different parts of the internet. So I do think it's key to giving us absolute proof. Like, I could say to you, I channel light language, and that's evidence for me that something greater exists, a higher frequency, a higher intelligence. But unless you know that yourself, it's just my opinion. But what happens with Tartaria is there's your evidence. There's photos, there's buildings, there's structures. So that gives you your foothold into new thought, new concepts, because it is undeniable.
It's so true. It's so true. I was going to say, the one thing about Tartaria that I have noticed in my personal self is that, because I used to teach the Dharma when I was in my 20s, I was in a monastery for 5 years. So it was all very mindful, and I was using words like emptiness and non-attachment and metta and kindness and love. And then I went into like disclosure, and it was all about ETs and greys and draconians and Alpha Centauris and like undergrounds and full on adrenaline, all that stuff. And then I went into Ramtha's work with quantum mechanics, and it became very elegant speech, very long words about holographic universe and the quantum field, and that the observer creates reality. And now we've hit Tartaria, and I tell you, I mean, honestly, my language is now literally
get
fucked. It's like I am swearing my head off. Like, it's like every single thing about it is like, fuck off, get fucked. You're fucking kidding me. It is like my most authentic language at the Tartarian level is get fucked. And like, it's really quite liberating to speak so openly and honestly. But to me, Tartaria has captured this like this tonality that is at that sort of like, we are a motley crew. We've been around for a long time. We're all carrying the scars. We've all done our inner child processing and the shadow working, and we've all like cried for the little lost creatures inside of us. And now it's just like, get fucked. Like, for fuck's sake. Like, are you telling me that building was built by three Chinese and a convict in a year? Fuck off. So like, that's sort of like the energetic that I'm at with it. So but Campbell, I wanted to just get in there before we unravel with Joe a little bit, which you guys are going to love. Honestly, you're going to love where we go with that. And it's all going to be, we're going to make it as we go. I just wanted to, something occurred to me, last podcast we were talking about the Chinese immigrations. And
Yes.
obviously I was really like engaging about how we've got this really interesting crossover with our timeline from the 1800s and Melbourne being founded, and then the Chinese immigration, the gold rush and the Great Depression, and ending the Great Depression on a war. And I feel like we're sort of mirroring that today. So I wanted to like cross a theory with you that I've been working on about the concept of ghost cities. So like before I
Yes.
go into a monologue about it, because I've been thinking about this one for a good 2 years now, like what are your thoughts on the ghost city?
Yeah, I mean, something's happened, right? And most of the population's been wiped out, scared out of the cities. Clearly, there were still populations out there, but most of the population seemed to have been, you know, taken somewhere, maybe manufactured, or at least the reproduction monitored, you know, because then, you know, just after that, then we have all the cities full of orphans. Well, first they're full of people, aren't they, with no kids, and then suddenly there's kids everywhere. No babies. The babies are only in the incubating centres. People don't have babies; they just have like kids from sort of 5 years up.
Yeah.
And then before that, you go back to the 1860s, and all the cities are half smashed or completely smashed.
Yeah.
So we go from this completely smashed to rebuilt and empty, to just adults, to adults, kids, but no actual babies. So it just completely looks like you know, there's been an event. It's wiped out a lot of the population. That's been rebuilt up and then reintroduced while the cities have been repaired. And then we've been given our new reality, because of course at the end of that, what do you get is the world's fairs.
Yeah.
Right. Reintroducing, you know, this is the new reality. This is the tech you'll now use. This is where you're from. This is your culture, you know, and literally here's your little book, go and fill it out and we'll grade you on it. See if you get a pass. Here's your passport, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
all this stuff.
drops in?
So it just, that's what it looks like.
What drops in for me as you're saying that is that we are like a Lego city, and there's some other being that constructs this bit and then reconstructs that bit, but we are like players in a big Lego land. That's
absolutely.
And
it's really
some
interesting.
Of the old, some of the old pictures when you see of the cities, they're so clean, and it literally looks unlike, you can tell these are massive stone buildings, but you look at it and you think you're looking at a stage set. Like there's heaps of them, and you're just like, that's a stage set. That's not real, but you know it is real, but it's just too clean. Like you said, just like perfect, just been put up. There you go, brand new city, jump in. But then we have the problem that they're all half a foot, you know, half a story underground.
So here's something interesting, just to trip us out. A get fucked moment. Like, here we go. All right. So there's been a few things with the Tartarian thing. One is, where were all the bodies? Like, that was one thing. Like, if there was this big full-on event, what happened to all the bodies and the people? Whether it was us or the civilization before us, where did everyone go? So like this concept of the ghost cities, which are being built like predominantly in China. Hello, China, always at the center of this life, predominantly in China, but also all around Mongolia, some in Europe. And they're these huge structures, right, that are just being built. Now, if I'm going to bring up some pictures in a minute, but if we look at the premise, could this be a possibility that in fact, what's happening there in China are these huge ghost cities have already been built. They have, and this is going to be what messes with your head, right? Tartarian hunters. They have actually mimicked the old realm. So they have built new buildings that look like the Tartarian buildings, but they're fake Tartarian buildings. And they've built new statues that look like the Tartarian statues, but they're fake Tartarian statues. And I even found some photos today. It was hard, but I was looking for the replicated buildings that actually include the mud flood windows. And there are some that have actually built fake mud flood windows. And so then you got to look, okay, is it possible that we didn't go anywhere? We were just like shuffled over. So imagine now, like something, the pandemic hits, blah, 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 something wipes out the Western cities. And then suddenly, like these ghost cities that are have now been built and just sitting there empty, like we are saying Melbourne was in the 1830s when it was found dead. It was sitting here empty. And here are these cities sitting there empty, mimicking the old realm. And then slowly we're going to start to see people populate them like we did those old realm photographs of the, the 1800 cities where we get people slowly populating it. Like there's a possibility we're going to literally watch it happen here. And then you've got to think, well, are we living in a fake version of Tartaria? I mean, how many layers of this reset has there been? While you speak, Cambell, I'm going to screen share and bring up some photos, all right? So
remember what about all the pics that came out last year of the empty cities when everyone was locked inside, right? There were heaps of them, and of our cities today, but empty.
Exactly. They looked exactly like
then obviously,
this.
And with China as well, you'll find that they're replicating things like the Eiffel Tower, the Harbour Bridge from London, all these different, one-off icons. They're being replicated, and that city is empty. I mean, the ones in China, they're not 100% empty. They're built for like 10 million people, and they might have like 200,000 people living there. So they're basically ghost cities, but completely built out and finished. Look at that.
Like this, like if you're looking at like what we were looking at with the mud flood, this looks like a mud flooded city. It literally looks like it's being pulled out of the mud. Now we know this is being built here in front of our eyes, but that's trippy, don't you think? Look at this. There's your piles of mud.
The photos where they're digging, we're saying they're digging it out.
Yes.
Are they actually? Yeah, right.
And here they're constructing it. So like we're seeing construction, but back then we were seeing piles of mud everywhere and seeing it as a mud flood that we were digging them out. We're here, we're actually seeing buildings being constructed, but their similarities are pretty head trippy. Like, now, I mean, I'll just run you through.
No,
so this is what kind of like what they're looking like. These are ghost cities. They've been constructed and there's no one in them. Now, we're working on the premise that Melbourne was found dead. These cities were found dead and then repopulated. This is a dead city in front of our eyes, and it hasn't been populated yet. I mean, this is crazy. Do you not think this is crazy? Like, this is a complete, like, trippy timeline that we can actually see ghost cities coming out of the mud in front of our eyes, unpopulated. And there's some in Mongolia too, odd little creatures. Look at that. And then they've got this thing.
Expenistan, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
However you say that. Oh my God, is that in Mongolia?
I think this one is in Mongolia.
Holy
but then
God.
There's even a trippier version of all this, which is basically like they are mimicking old realm buildings. Like these are in the ghost city. Look at that. This is a mimic of the old realm
in China,
in these new fake Chinese ghost cities.
Okay, why?
Exactly.
Now they're going to tell us it's just for tourism, but what a lot of effort. Look at this. They've got a fake White House. Full-scale White House.
Do you know what else they're mimicking is the street layouts.
The street light. Look at this. They've got a pentagon.
From top, they've all got those layouts.
This is a fake Chinese.
Oh, there. Okay. Wow. Oh my God.
This is the fake Chinese one. I've got another photo of it somewhere. Hang on.
Star City, anyone?
Like, I mean, is this not like messing with your brain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the thing. And what do we know about, those, who wish to control us? I mean, basically, they want to become gods on earth. Is what the deal is, right? They want to, and you can go into that, however far you want, but basically they want to be the gods of earth. They obviously aren't from the creation, so they just want to create this replica world that they can rule, because they can't, clearly that they're not the creator. So all they can do is create, you know, like a watered down version and give us that and say, no, that's reality. And so it looks like that's literally what they're doing. Literally in the 3D world, they're building that, the mimic.
So one of these photos is Paris and one is the Chinese version in the ghost city. It's like, it's crazy. This is a mimic.
Yeah.
That looks like an old realm statue. It's a mimic. Look, there's the original and the fake. Again, look.
Oh, are we on the right picture? I think we're on the wrong picture here, Carol.
Oh, wait, sorry.
It's not moving.
Hang on.
I'm still seeing the street.
Oh, are you? Wait a minute. I know why. Let's just get rid of that and go to this. Oh, I was yes, my mistake. One more. Here we go. All right. This is
wow.
This is fake. This is in the Chinese ghost cities. Fake. Look at this. One's Paris and one's China.
Wow.
I mean, we're mimicking it down to that's fake. That's in China. But they're mimicking the old realm. And then that makes you think like, all right, that's one of those is real and one of those is fake. I mean, this is pretty trippy stuff, guys. Because we're like looking at Tartaria from the idea that we're peeling back the layers from our cities. And in actual fact, at the very same time, they're building new layers in other cities. This is in China. They're actually mimicking. Can you see?
And, yeah. And at the same time, they've spent the last 100 years ripping all the proper real architecture down. And now they're just rebuilding a cheap version of it.
Yes.
Like, what?
They're mimicking like that. Amsterdam. I mean, I just find this such a like, all right, come on, where have you seen this before? Hello, Denver Airport. The red-eyed horses. This is in China.
Yeah.
Pentagram again.
And that's huge too. That statue's massive.
I mean, come on, look at this. This is the fake one.
Where they do their fake ruling from. Isn't that mad?
The scale of these empty plazas are just insane. Like we talk about Tartaria being a realm of giants. Well, the scale of this, I watched the video, this does not give it to you. Like the scale it's like the size of the Eiffel Tower. Like it's so huge. And they're even mimicking, look at that. Look at the geometry. Look how they're like. Yeah,
the geometry is definitely in there.
I mean, gosh, they've gone to so many lengths.
Wow. And see, some of them so circuit board, some of them look so circuit board city. So are they actually doing that to get to run them like a grid to get free energy? Who knows? But
ghost cities.
No one here. Cities. Just us.
Again, out of the
mud. The other thing is a lot of them aren't finished, are they? Like that, they're like that shopping center you showed. Like there's a lot of buildings that are literally had $100 million put into them, and then they just walk away and they're half done, and they've been sitting there for 10 years.
Yep.
It's just so. Did their plan fail?
It's almost like there are bots on some sort of program doing this, and the masters are gone, and they're just. Hasn't there been a movie like that they continue on doing what they've been programmed to do, but that's why they walk away, because the ultimate level of the controller is gone, walked off, they're dead or they're removed, and the bots in the bottom or on this level are just still going on with their program.
That's so every.
I mean,
oh gosh.
So we've got evidence that ghost cities are happening. Like, as we are uncovering evidence of the fact that we live in a reset community, right? We live in a reset timeline, and we've got evidence of that timeline happening again, but from the perspective of.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go, Joe.
So we are no longer living in a reset timeline. She is right. they have gone. And this is something just continuing to play out.
Wow. Okay, so that's you. So this is because we've been asking for the last 18 months, where is everyone? You know, where's Queenie? Where's all the Hollywood stars? Where's all these high rollers? They all seem to have disappeared. So with what you're saying is basically the rulers have left, but while they were here, they created something, be it bots or AI maybe, that is now still running. And it believes it's the controller, and it's still just building and going and running the plan, and we're all believing that it's some entity we need to listen to.
Well,
it's clearly just a movie.
I was reading the other day a fantastic learning how to read the Schumann resonance. I was learning how to read the Schumann resonance and learning what the colors meant when it's in green, orange, black, blue, you know, the colors that you see on that scale. And they were talking about the idea that the Earth's protective shield was like damaged or removed, or something impacted it, something affected it, and then this like AI nefarious takeover of our reality occurred. And that like what's happening right now is that everyone who's coming and owning their sovereignty and like standing for the earth and standing for the future and standing in positivity and standing in that space and knowing their God nature is helping repair the earth's natural protective shield, which is responsible for what we would term to be the matrix, right? So they're like this matrix is being reconfigured and rebuilt, but there's infinite timelines going on all the time. So like the idea that we have literally jumped timelines like hundreds of times in the last couple of months is like very possible in little ways. So, you know, it could be just be a second or 2 seconds or 10 seconds, but enough to like screw up our whole biological vessel to the point where, you know, everyone's pretty exhausted and you know, having stuff that they have to just constantly be on top, like depletion, like iron levels depleted, B12's depleted, like your mineral content depleted as a result of these timelines, like trying to, like it's like a battle of the timelines almost. It's like a war on the timelines, you know. It's not like a war of the world, it's war of the timelines.
And the main,
and this to me,
Star Trek.
Yeah, it's so Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
And all of this stuff, like all this context with China and Melbourne and China and Australia and China and Dan Andrews and China and the gold rush and China and immigration and China and COVID, hello, China and where it all started from, this pandemic, like, and here we are with China with all their frigging ghost cities, like mimicking the old realm in ways that, I mean, like these are full on structures that have been just left there. That could have been a black and white photo from the 1800s with no people. We would have been like, it's a reset. Where are all the people?
Oh, indeed. And who says that? This is the other thing about all those photos. Some of those old photos, they look like they're done in, you know, bloody HD. They're, you know, some of them you can zoom right in. And we're told they were taken in the 1880s, and then you get a photo from 1900 and it's just like 2 pixels. So we don't even know what we're looking at. We know that they can manipulate Photoshop, and if we know that, you know, the old world had tech, then I'm pretty sure they had photography, you know, so they could definitely, everything could be manipulated. But Joe, you said that we are no longer on a reset timeline.
Yes. I'm having a funny time interpreting this, because I understand that this is a hot topic. So for me to say that we are no longer on a reset timeline, see, I just don't get that we are. So as I'm saying this, it's a big, we definitely have been reset, but It isn't that going to happen again.
Jo, is that specific, do you think, to our audience, to the ones that have like freed themselves from the program to the extent that they can actually start to see Tartaria, start to get into this old realms and see through the program of that? Are you talking specifically to our consciousness?
Yes, because if you are open to looking at this and the possibilities and the implications of this, it means your mind has expanded beyond the program, beyond the what we've been trained to see as a civilization. And if you've opened your consciousness to see this, then you've opened a new vista in front of you. You've opened quantum potentials in front of you that were not there before you knew this information, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense to me. And it feels steady too.
And it's like the it's just a 3D manifestation, isn't it? Of,
yeah,
you know, if you look, you know, hard enough, you can see there's more to see, right? There's more to see in that whole hidden in plain sight kind of thing. Like we walk through cities now and we're just like, whoa, look at that. And, you know, 5 years ago, most people are just walking through looking at their feet. So literally it's mental and physical.
Yes. Well, look, I've just done a reading with my trusty tarot cards for Australia in general.
Great.
And obviously every timeline is a choice in front of us, but I would like to read this because when I laid these cards out while you were talking, I actually started to get very teary because it's beautiful for Australia. It is so beautiful. Ijunde miakatsia tushte kumokikatsia tushea. Izatushte imbakuyatsa kumokiketsia tushea. Ezutaya. I want everybody to know, to take heart. It is beautiful. Eshushten dobuyatsa kumakiketsa. Ezutushe oshumbukikatsa. Ezutaya. Your worst case scenario that everybody's imagining is not what's going to happen. So just looking at this reading, I use a Celtic cross spread, which shows me the energies moving in and out of this situation. So this is for Australia as a whole. We've been working on total sovereignty in body, mind, and soul. As a nation, the emperor represents who is the emperor. An emperor knows his realm. The emperor knows the exports, imports, crops, everything. The emperor's got an understanding of their entire empire, and nobody can tell them who they are or who they're not. So we have been working and focusing on in our previous weeks and months on finding our sovereignty. Where we are is represented by the Six of Swords. So for me, we are at the end of a dark cycle. It's over. But something is holding us back. And what is holding us back is represented by the King of Swords, which is authenticity, which is speaking up and being who we truly are. And what people getting up and marching, people standing in the park every Sunday at 10 a.m., wherever they are all around, whatever it is you're doing is helping you find your authentic self. And if you're not doing that, it's stopping that end of the dark cycle from unfolding. So that end of the dark cycle is sort of also described like you've been in a dark tunnel and you come back out into the new light, into the new reality. So not being authentically who we are is what has stopped that. What we have to do, so the next card as I read it, is about connection. It's connecting with our fellow citizens. It is understanding each other. It is understanding what makes each other tick, what's important to each other's souls. what's important to each other's lives, and, you know, just so that we come together. And it's about coming together in joy. It's coming and connecting and understanding that whether somebody's moved forward with this thing or not, whether somebody's stayed in a job or not, this is about coming together and not letting the division of this, you know, the opposing perspectives pull us apart. That connection, that friendship with each other is what is going to bring the next phase. And the next phase is that we are accomplished. So this is the upcoming energies. Once we connect in joy and choose to focus on the small joys in our life instead of the terrible things happening out there, we will gain what we want. We will reach a level of achievement, which is going to bring in that next phase, which is that new cycle. So what we have to do to help this is represented by that, which is feel what you're feeling. Now, this is a concept that is being spoken of a lot in the spiritual world. And this is probably a deep question, a deep subject for people who watch Tartaria, but I'm suggesting that part of the way to move through where we are at the moment is to feel how we feel about it, is to acknowledge how we're being triggered by what's happening in the world around us. To be honest and to take responsibility, because you can never change what somebody else does. You can only change how you respond to it. So take responsibility. Don't say, well, that person did that, so therefore I feel this and therefore they're bad and I'm, have no choice. This is about feeling and processing how you feel about what's happening in the world. So don't be afraid to feel what you're feeling. Connect with people and tell them how you are feeling about what's happening. And in that expression of that, you will go through a healing. If you are pushing that away, you are not helping the collective.
Yeah, you've got to speak.
The best way you help the collective in any situation is to be honest and be truthful to yourself how you're feeling, and to be willing to be vulnerable and to talk to other people about it. What's
Got
interesting,
to speak, people, got to speak. Speak.
And be willing to feel without judgment. If you need to cry, if you need to feel angry, but don't direct it at something that's doing something to you or something that's happening in the world. Just take it in and go, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and be with it, and it will start the transmutation process. How people see us in Australia is represented by this. So we are working on ourselves. In one sense, we are working on our own selves emotionally and spiritually, because we are standing up, we're talking, we're standing in the park every Sunday at 10 a.m, or we're doing all these things. So we are in a place of working on ourselves as a culture, as a people, as a civilization, and we're in a growth period. That is exactly what we're going through. We are not, on one level, we are exactly where we need to be. Because what's happening is teaching us to grow. So anybody who's aware and open is seeing that we're going through a huge growth process right now. Our hopes and fears is the next card, and that is, will we be victorious or not? Will we succeed in this growth? And I'm here to say, yes, we will.
Yeah, fucking God wins, man.
Because here's our outcome card. And the 0 card, don't worry about the Fool. The 0 card is the first card in the deck, and it signifies a new beginning. It signifies the ending of an old evolutionary learning curve. So you've traversed everything. We've grown, we've absorbed the information, we've gained the lessons, and now we move into a new phase where we have a whole new set of experiences coming to us based upon the wisdom and knowledge that we've gained in this previous pattern or this previous portion of this journey. So we are coming into that new beginning. And when I laid this out, I just actually got a bit teary because I'd never done it on Australia before. But this, in truth, this gives me such hope, because there's nothing in this that's bad. There's no downside to this reading in any way. We just have to be willing to be authentically who we are and not who we've been told we are.
Have to learn to take the mask off, hey?
Yeah, man, take the mask off. I think everyone within the Tartaria, anyone listening to this, like, that reading is for those in Australia listening to this. I mean, come on, like, you guys are like, you know what's going on. You've seen through the bullshit. Like, we've seen through the fact that, like, like, any doubts about COVID being an agenda. Hello, you've just seen that history is a total and utter fucking lie. And my only knowledge of Mars is Hollywood. So, like, you know, really, when it comes to us being okay and claiming our sovereignty and turning out all right, I absolutely 1000% believe that is the case. But Joe, like, is there a crystal city in the middle of Australia? Like, is there a 5D crystal city that we can't see in the middle of Australia, alluding back to Evan Stephen Strong, making comments about the fact that the convicts were attempting to escape, and they were told by the black fellas that they should go to the middle of Australia because there was that's where the
white fellas are.
Exactly.
Yes, it's there, definitely.
So is this? Are we talking like energetic shift here? Like because before you said people who are onto this information are the ones that are going to see it. So does that mean we basically go, we just don't see the illusion anymore, and everyone else who's stuck in the AI down there, they live in that time loop thing, and then actual reality, if you want to call it that, is going to start showing itself to us, or reality on a different level, is it on a higher vibe? Because I've said it quite a few times. I've said, you know, Tartaria could still be there, fully functioning.
Yep.
We just can't see it. We're on the wrong wavelength.
If you think of a ceiling fan, and when it's still, you see all the blades. But when you put it on low, but when you put it on super high, they disappear, but they're still there. It's the same thing. When we find our frequency, it's here. It's just in a high frequency. And so, yes, it is there. I suppose it's like Shambhala, the old movie of Shambhala.
Look what came through my feed today. Just out of curiosity, this is all the Australian mining operations, and look, everywhere but the middle, the heart of Australia. Like, there's no mines there. There's nothing going on right there where our crystal city should be. That's interesting, don't you think? That there's a massive, like, the middle of Australia has been left unmined, untouched. I just thought that was an interesting thing to share.
Yeah, Shambhala is also, I mean, that's basically the same as the north, right? Oh God, what are all the other names for it? Like Hyperborea, Eden. The names.
Yeah, we're gonna go blank now, but we all know them. Carry on.
We all know them. Those other two names, yes.
Yeah.
I'll put the text up. But so, I mean, they're all talking about. So are they all talking about a physical place, or are they talking about a consciousness?
Well, it's physical to the people there.
So
yeah, look,
all these places are places we can go without moving.
Which is probably what Mars is.
That way.
Which is probably what Mars is.
So one of my thoughts that came up on Mars is the god of war. You know, everything you hear about Mars is always top secret, always, you know,
it's always
to
red,
blow up
Cambell.
bad aliens. It's always red, yeah.
Always red,
warlike.
weirdly enough, but also the red bricks, the red sand, the red heart of Australia disdain.
Red Mercury.
I think that saying that Mars is the god of war has a perspective that war is bad.
Inversion.
But the thing is too, you know, when you think about Shiva the destroyer.
Yep. And Kali.
But what they're doing is destroying the old, destroying the limitations.
That's what we're doing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you have to walk through this challenge. You have to overcome these limitations of perspective in order to go to some higher consciousness, higher perspective. And in a way, it's a destruction of your monkey mind. It's a destruction of your blinkers, so that you then have a wider vision. So again, there is a bad Mars and there's a good Mars. It's your perception, if you know what I mean. There's a negative Mars.
Here.
It's here.
Well, I was watching a show called The Magicians, which I really got into, by the way. It's like a TV series like 4 or 5 years ago, and really interesting how they do magic. Anyway, point is that the end of it, this realm called Fillory, like the realm that they all know, the god realm, the fantasy realm, like it's the battery where the back door to the magic, which has been turned off, end up being on the flip side of the realm. So there's like another version of exactly the same buildings, exactly the same place, but it was underneath.
Yeah,
that's where they had to access
the big friendly giant.
BFG,
giant.
Yes,
they jump
exactly.
through and they turn upside down. Yeah, there's a flipped world. And,
Right,
and when they do that, they do it at a big tree, like
Yes.
the world tree. Yeah.
I've got an interesting.
So is that where the portal is?
Well, look, listen to this for a little musing I've just had. So, you know, we haven't found any stories from our indigenous about, you know, these cities. Like, we don't see any representation of our indigenous, like, stumbling across Melbourne and going, wow, there's a big fucking city here and it's a dead. Now, imagine if Melbourne and all these cities that the natives never saw was on a different frequency band from them. So they literally did not see or record these dead cities because they were not operating at the same frequency resonance. Like we cannot.
And the ones
that Stephen.
The ones who can remember them are there.
Exactly. So, and the ones, and so Evan and Stephen Strong saying that they were talking about the Crystal City, they're present to that's the they gave us a clue of the frequency band that those indigenous were sitting on. And he said they had magic, that they defeated the soldiers, which was a war, with magic. So of course, maybe they couldn't see Melbourne. They couldn't see this other realm, these old structures and buildings. And that's true from around the world of our natives. They weren't on the same frequency. And until they were reintroduced by the World Trade Fair as the natives, and they were the ones that were like us, like, and mind controlled. And
that's the end of the is it the Celestine prophecy? Is it where they all disappear? Remember?
That's right. They do.
Do they disappear in the end of that?
They do.
And they can see them, but they can't see. And they can't see them because they're because they're so high, so
frequent.
And they're on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, are people going to start disappearing? And have those that have disappeared, have they gone like down, like we've all gone up and they haven't been able to rise, so they've all disappeared?
Well,
and soon it'll be like, Kelly, where are you? Hello, I've got a Zoom meeting. She's like, I'm in the 12D somewhere.
Wouldn't that be fucking cool? A Zoom meeting from different realms. I love that.
Well,
yeah.
We had in the school that I went to, and Kelly is familiar with this school. We have photos. They would come and take photos doing field work which is a discipline which we will get into we'll talk about it sometime. We really do need to have that talk about all those things. But there were photos of people off the ground floating, and you could see the palings of the fence through them. So when they were doing a discipline, their frequency would rise, because we would do a breath work to move the energy, the Kundalini energy, up your spine and into your brain, and it activates your midbrain and helps you change your frequency. It's a longer explanation. But there were people that you could see were transparent, and there were photos of people in a living room sitting on a couch, and you could see the couch through the arm and the back of the couch. And what our teacher said is that when people ascend, they remove themselves from history.
Yes. Yes, Jo.
Nobody remembers them because they've removed themselves from history.
And we've got Jo.
Never heard that before.
Yes, she's right. And with that school, they did bilocation, which also enabled them to sort of focus on a process and like disappear and reappear in that imagined destination. And like if we look at those pictures from Tartaria with the ghost pictures, where we've got those images of people turning up in mirrors and vessels, and they look like ghosts, that would make total sense that they had the technology to beam people in from a different resonance.
Is that what ghosts are? Yeah. I've often thought that ghosts are just people that on a different frequency, and sometimes we just sort of hit frequencies where we can just see them.
Okay,
that's why they walk through walls, because that wall isn't there. We're in their reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just,
all right, guys. So this may be a revolutionary thought process we've just been having. So I'm just going to recap and summarize here. So what we have suggested as a premise is that the reason our indigenous brothers and sisters had no recollection of these massive built, dead, empty city structures in their history or their artwork is because they simply existed on a different frequency band and did not see them. They were at, like, obviously Melbourne was at a different frequency than our indigenous our Aboriginal, our original people, and that when we were told by the Strongs that they saw a crystal city and that they had magic, that's evidence that they were simply operating from a different frequency band. And it wasn't until the indigenous we now know were reintroduced alongside us with our memories reset and our programmed concept of reality brought back in, that there's this massive, just like we talk about Tartaria and the people who were in Tartaria and us, there's a massive like break in the situation, like in the caliber of entity we're talking about. Same with our original peoples around the world. There's the original peoples, and then there's the ones that are with us today, and there's a massive break in their understanding of who they are, their history, their abilities to do magic, their ability to resonate at a height. Same with us. So, like, I just think that's fascinating. That would make so much sense to me. So that would then say that the crystal city they were referring to exists in the middle of Australia, which is untouched by mining. And it's possible that as we move our frequency up, and I think the doorway, the gateway to that magic is Tartaria. Like, because once you understand that everything that we know is a lie, you can start to get clear about who the fuck you are, like, and how amazingly powerful you are. And then, like, this fake realm starts to collapse as the true realm starts to reemerge.
And also where we are, because what they're hiding as well is the fifth element, right? They don't want you to know that there's a God or a spirit or an ether. And this is, Joe touched on it before, when we're growing up, we're heavily programmed that all that stuff is either weirdness or it's just fairy tales or it's dangerous. It's one of these things. Just don't go there. It doesn't really exist. So don't listen to people like that. Now, I was thinking when you were talking about the levitation, if someone levitates, and you got two people in front of them, excuse me, on different vibrations. Will one see them levitate and one not? Because, you know, it's like Neverland, right? How do you fly? You just believe. If you believe you can do it, then you can do it. So if you believe levitation is possible, you can see it. If you don't believe it's a possibility, can see it. And this is the whole shift, isn't it? Yep. It's our belief of what is real, because Tartaria introduces everyone into free energy, the ether. That's the net, and Tartaria just opens up. It's like, look at the buildings, look at the domes, look at the free energy, and this, and it just kind of walks you down this sort of street into more and more. And at the end, you're like, holy crap, everything's just a lie. It's completely different. So yeah, it's that's what I'm thinking. The frequency definitely makes sense. And all those poor bloody convicts probably ran out there and weren't on the right frequency and went, where's this bloody city?
Yeah.
But the other thing I just mentioned is, what do they do to these places like America and like Australia that would have been operating on a different frequency? What's the first thing they do? You know, the parasites, when they rock up, they start war. They do whatever they can to drop that frequency,
genocide.
Right? Drop it down into their level, and then they can get in there. So it's all to do with frequency, clearly.
And that's why what this reading is saying we all need to do is to focus on the joy and focus on connecting with our friends and understanding them and understanding what makes them happy and allowing them that. So it's about connection. It's not war. It's the opposite of the war is what we've got to do.
And Cambell and I keep getting this strong sensation to sort of go to the desert, like to go we're like, I'm feeling the call, like we're close enough to be, maybe we're gonna maybe we're gonna see this
21st December.
Yep, 21st December, like big date. Let's do it. Let's go to the Crystal City and stand there like the analogy of Columbus, like arriving and the natives standing there, the shaman standing there till he could goddamn see it, because he could see the ripples in the water. That's a very story we have around through life. So I think it would be amazing for us as the Tartarian hunters to go and stand in the place we feel like something's there. It's not being mined, it's not being touched, and stare it down. Stare the illusion down. We're going to face the fucking illusion until our eyes, because I trust my eyes.
I've been trying to think of a thing. There's a quote from the Bible. I can't think of it, but it's something like, it's not looking you will see, but it's along those lines. You know, it's like, but one of those things anyway. Okay.
Well,
I'm not being very eloquent today.
This discussion.
Swear a bit, Cambell. You'll feel better.
So the bottom line of this discussion for me is that just be open to entertaining some ideas that are outside your little box of expectation and what you were raised, and having those concepts, you know, the Crystal City, what are the ghost cities about? All of this keeps your mind flexible, and you'll be more open to what then comes next, is what I feel. So is everything what is truth? Truth is really your perception through your brain. Like we say, we're not really seeing with our eyes, we're receiving into our brain. So what is truth? It's a bunch of, impulses hitting our brain.
That's such a good point, Jo. So to be clearer, the reason I can trust my eyes now is because my eyes can see now. Like, I know my state of consciousness is at such a place that when I use my eyes, I'm getting back a level, I'm getting back the truth, and that everything behind me using my eyes is like the lie. Like everything we're living with COVID, and everything we're living with the media, and everything we're living with our especially here in Melbourne, the external realm, to me is non-truth, because my consciousness is seen bigger, it's seen greater, it's expanded beyond that. Like, yes, there's 50 police there, but what I'm seeing is that goddamn mud flooded window right behind them. And I'm like, get out of my way, man. So,
Yeah.
all right, Joe, can we tune into it? Can we actually like do a reading on the crystal city in the desert in Australia? Is
Okay.
that possible?
Let's do that.
Okay. So talk about something else for a little minute, and when I'm ready, I'll come back to you.
All right, Campbell.
So, yeah. So
there's a lot happened this week.
just on talking to everyone.
Mm.
Oh gosh, my phone again.
That was funny. That was funny.
Oh, go away. Go away.
Well, it's been a big week here in Australia. We've had a lot of resignations, a lot of shuffling around the government, a lot of new like questioning the mandates, and it does feel like this week has felt empowered to me in the external realm.
It has, and there was so much talk of this happening that everyone was, not everyone, but a lot of people in the know were saying big things are coming. They're in there. People are going to start resigning, and it literally happened. Like they said, October. So, there's definitely stuff happening, guys. If you're thinking that this is all bad, I know you're watching the TV. So go and kill it. Turn it off. Kick it. Throw it out the door. It's no good. It's bad for you. Destroy
We're dobbing
it.
on you. We're dobbing on
throw
you.
holy water at it.
We know you're watching the news. Stop it. You naughty children.
We're watching you. It'll get you down there every time. Get out there and talk to people. Let's go, Joe.
Okay, so it has been, the crystal city is definitely what you were saying it has been in the past, that it depends on your ability to perceive it. Okay. What's happening now though is the change is so big that it's like it's actually the death card right now. Mm. But what that means is big transformation, like karmic transformation, the end of an old, the beginning of a new. So the crystal city, in the way that it has existed, is changing. And we are a part of that change, that evolution. How it changes is because we're changing, and we're changing in order to be able to experience it. What it's about is redefining love in the future. So the crystal city, if you love yourself, if you value yourself, if you honor yourself as who you really can be, you will find it. You will be there, a part of it. It's around, we've been told for so long that we're sinners. We've been told for so long that we're not as good. We can't connect directly to source. We have to do it through someone called a priest. So when we step into our power, we step into who we are as a fractal of source, as a fractal of God. That's a level of self-love and a level of self-acceptance that we haven't had. And that's part of why we then access this crystal city. It's got to do with moving out of slavery, moving out of all of that stuff.
It's just like the COVID pass, right? But I mean, a self-love pass, but it's just interesting how everything's just a mirror of what's going on. I've always said everything's just the same. It's all the same.
Joe, do you think I don't know if you want to tune into this, but the question we've been chewing on is Australia, the land of Oz, the magical land of Oz, is Australia the heart of all of this? Is it the heart of, I mean, we talk about Uluru being the heart center of the earth. We talk about the center of Australia being the heart center for all of the plane. A lot of focus on the solstice coming into this year, last year. And again, there'll be this year also. But the idea, and Australia's vast desert that just seems to be like completely deserted. And then we got Pine Gap there, this probably the most notorious underground military base. So we've been looking at Australia being the heart of the control center, which is also, of course, the inverted side of that is that it's the heart of the earth. And if we're talking about a crystal city, they're in the heart center of the earth. Would you say that it is here in Australia, or that those crystal cities are in the hearts of all nations? Are they going to pop up like everywhere on the earth? Or have we got a concentrated
because there's chakras,
energy here?
Isn't there a chakra system that they've put across the earth?
There is.
Yeah.
I would say that the crystal cities are all over the place. But as far as Australia being the heart as the center or the most important place, the message I get is that in the body, the heart on its own can't, there's no reason for it. That the lungs are as important, the kidneys are as important. And so if you think of the earth, whatever it looks like, as an entire organism, there is no one point that's more important than another, that they all need to work in harmony. And that if we are the heart, and I don't get that definitely, I don't get a definite thing, but whatever we are each as important as the other portion, the other part of the body, of the being on this planet.
So Antarctica must be like the crown chakra. It must be the where Mount Meru and the Tree of Life and all runs through that Antarctical space, whatever that is, because JCK did a fantastic channeling a while ago now, talking about Antarctica not being a physical location like we've been told, but another plane, another dimensional plane where great leaders would go and do their business on this. And it was all sort of like aimed at Trump taking down these demonic entities in this Antarctic plane. So, I mean, we have got so much to understand and learn about timelines and time and dimensions and frequency. Because when I'm saying like timelines, and like we bring in this what was that machine called? The Hydra Collider. And I don't know why I always find this
Hadron Collider.
Yes,
the Hadron Collider.
Yes, the Hadron Collider. Which is interesting. That's so similar to the what is the beast with the lots of tall?
The Hydra.
The Hydra, very similar.
Hydra, yeah.
Just as note, but basically that when that got turned on in 2012, which is when everything was prophesied to sort of like come to conclusion with the main calendar, etc. When they got turned on in 2012, it actually created two worlds. Like it actually split, it actually created the 5D realm. Like this is something I was reading the other day. It literally created the access to 5D realm. And though they turned it on to alter and control our timeline, it actually, and nothing appeared to happen except for us, truth seekers, we noted Mandela effect. Hello. Everything started to happen and everyone's like memory started to split. And this massive surge of awakening since 2012 to now. How big has the awakening of man's unprogrammed belief structure happened? And then recently, I'm just recapping on the last 3 months, they've been using a similar machine, but it's in Switzerland or Sweden, one of those two. And they've been desperately trying to jump the timeline, so to alter the timeline. And in that jumping, they've been doing it like, we've like jumped like hundreds of times in the last 3 months. And so, and everything's been affected, everything.
That's so funny.
So they've been trying to stop human beings from waking up. That's it. Like once we wake up, we no longer believe in them. And when we don't believe in them, then they have no power because they can't generate fear in us and can't like mind control us. So in the last, so when we're talking about crystal cities appearing and frequencies, like starting to generate new things and us seeing new things, like, hey man, we've got timelines popping out all over the place. Like, and when we jump without, and this is happening when we're sleeping, when we're waking, like, no wonder you're forgetting your passwords and like your address and your phone numbers and your best friend's number and your best friend all together. Like you guys are going to be like forgetting everything soon because our neural nets are messing up and we don't even know what's happening. But we do know it's happening.
That's so funny. That just made me laugh, because this is how stupid these people are. They don't even understand that every time you end something, every time you create an end, you also create a beginning.
Yeah.
Hello. They don't understand that. So every time they're trying to end it, they're starting another beginning and another one. And then they're going, why are people still waking up so fast? Oh, but it's faster. It's happening. I mean, that's funny. That's funny. But this is why it says, in all evil holds the seeds of its own demise, because evil is stupid.
Yep, absolutely. And I think there's a testimony of how desperate they're getting. Like, hello, God is winning, because they're having to jump us like all the time, which is, of course, resulting in the opposite impact. More and more and more and more people waking up. Like, the next time I run into the police for not wearing
possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. But when I have to deal with the police for not wearing a mask next time, which will probably be like in 2 hours time, like as soon as I step out of the door, like I'm just gonna be like, dude, I don't believe in you anymore. Okay, I don't believe you anymore. Like I don't.
You're an illusion.
I can vaguely even only see you. I can, like, do not believe in you. And so their authoritative presence in my realm will just start dispersing. Like if I'm not connected to them as my authority enslavers or fear generators.
This is the thing. The authority thing is what, it's like guilty conscience, right? Oh, that person's got a guilty conscience. What that means is they're just putting out this energy that's saying, police, come and get me. I believe so much that you're allowed to harass me and put me in jail. I've walked, and I try all the time, and I've walked, and I've been through all these breath tests and that when they stop cars, I get waved through all the time. Not that I drink and drive or anything, but because to me they don't exist. They don't, and it's in my head all the time. I'll start driving and I'm just like, oh, it'll just pop into my head. Oh, cops can't see me. I'm invisible to them. So we draw this stuff to ourselves. So it's like if you're in that crowd of the protest, you can actually be there and be the whole day and not one cop will even look at you, because they don't exist in your reality, while there's someone who can't get the cops off their back. Why are you still on me all the time? It's because you keep focusing on us, sir. Oh, okay. Let's try it, right? Next time you get put up by a cop, just tell them they don't exist.
It's like the Truman Show, isn't it? Or Dark City, those two movies. Like once they saw that they were living in a movie set, nothing about that reality existed to them anymore. Like they couldn't go back. You can't go back. You couldn't be the Truman and go back into that and be settled for more than 2 seconds. Like it's impossible. So as Tartaria is so fantastic for that. Like what have we dispelled in this single like rabbit hole? We have gotten rid of all the programming. Nice. Yeah, expelled. We've expelled history. We've expelled education. We've expelled religion. We've expelled the media. We've expelled television. We've expelled Hollywood. We've expelled movies. We've expelled space. We think we're like almost.
We're not sure.
We're almost. We've expelled the notion of it being the space that we were taught at school.
Hey, if you expel space, then I'm never going to be a spaceship pilot. So don't go there.
Mate, you can be intergalactic, interdimensional, multi-dimensional one, jumping realms. What else have we expelled? We've expelled the authority figure.
You've expelled a few F-bombs.
I've expelled some language.
And this is the thing, right? They call them curse words, right? So sometimes you need to undo the curse, get it out there.
I tell you what, Australia, like especially the women out there,
I would do it. It just doesn't feel it feels too uncomfortable.
That's
to me.
Because you are embodied in you've embodied some elements of your divine feminine and masculine. Yes. Whereas I, as the divine masculine in the divine feminine, want to swear my fucking head off.
Yes, I think
I've just had a saying in my head. Me?
Yeah.
You should see when someone tries to tell me what to do. When I just kind of think, if you swear too much, it loses its meaning. So if you hear me swear, run.
Yeah, I don't use it like a weapon like that. I'm using it as like
No,
an
no.
adjective.
F off. Well, that's the thing. In Australia, it's just like a pronoun, isn't it? Any swear word, it's just a noun or an adjective or a verb, whatever you want it to be, really.
And as women, like, really, when do we ever get to just like swear our heads off? It's very rare. We do maintain a certain like lid on our vocabulary.
It should be done more, though.
Yeah. Like this
should
is
be
just
done more in high-class restaurants, I think. How is your steak, ma'am? Oh, actually, it's quite fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's quite fucking. It's about fuck me. It's quite fucking awesome.
Well, I actually swear a lot.
Yeah,
I swear like
exactly.
I just don't do it in public.
No, yeah.
Well, I'm outing myself. I've come out in public as a public fucker. I've come out. There you go.
Swearing bear.
All right. So okay, let's get serious, fellas. Let's turn it into some seriousness here. Let's put all our focus back on Joe. And freak her out. Okay, so here we are. We've got to the premise that yes, there is a crystal city here in Australia, that it is somewhere in the central part of Australia, that our original people knew about it and they were operating on the frequency band. That's why they knew about it, and they also had magic still. And and those stories have been lost to time, and we're having to, just the Tartarian consciousness is allowing us to start bringing back those. So I have never heard until we had that discussion with Stephen and Evan that even possibility even existed here in Australia. And that was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So obviously Tartaria is really opening up new information and, new conversations and new things, new evidence are finding us now to start building, like basically Tartaria consciousness is building evidence that there is a 5D realm right where we are, and there always has been potentially. And in fact, it got lost to us because we got wiped. Our minds got wiped. The programming happened. Lost to us. And now be scared, nefarious ones, because we have woken up to the truth that there is some magic afoot and waking up here in Australia. God damn it, magic is waking up here in Australia.
Yes.
And we're going to wish them away. You don't exist.
Well, we're just going to wish them over to their ghost cities in China. That's the next plan for them. Go and live in your fake city in the middle of China. That's their new abode.
No, we don't send them anywhere. We lead through
transcend.
our own, through our loving ourselves, not hating them or wishing terrible things on them, but loving ourselves.
It's good to have a healthy dose of attitude, though. Like, it's good to have some attitude in all of this. We need some strong freaking personalities.
Spirituality with a few S-bombs.
I think it's balance. It's just about balance. It's about being either side.
Well, yeah, but it's self-censorship, isn't it, as well? If you feel like dropping an F-bomb or whatever and you're like, oh, I can't speak, that's self-censorship. That's not listening to yourself. I mean, and really, it's just a sound that someone has told you has a certain meaning. So in the end, it's, really, what are you getting offended about? That person opened their mouth and a random sound came out at me. I'm offended. Okay. I mean, because this is the thing, right? If you were from a different culture and you spoke a different language, would that sound have the same meaning? Probably not. So get over it. Who cares?
So Joe, do you want to?
And this is the thing: if you care about all this, you can only vibrate to the highest frequency that you focus on, can't you? So if you're focusing on all these low-level people, you can only vibrate as high as they can. You can't go any higher. You're holding yourself down there. So
exactly.
Yeah, when I say fuck, it sounds like this because my frequency is so high. It sounds like fuck. It's like hi.
Sounds like love. Love and flowers.
You are breaking the spell by using that word.
Well, thank you, Joe. I try my best, mate. Try my best. So, like, do you want to do any? Do you want to see what the light language has to say about any of this? Do you want to tune in and have a go? See what messages come through on all of what we've spoken about today.
And I was just going to say, if you happen to be in Melbourne and you're walking down the street and you hear some strange lady randomly swearing at the sky, she's not crazy, she's just breaking the spell.
Yeah, come and say hi. You're obviously part of Tartaria Hunters.
Okay, so I'll bring through a last little bit of language and let's see what comes about it. Istakamakikaka chesa ati shtestushtokumoyatkamakika ezuteya shetukamakike. They're saying that the energy and the laughter of this last hour and a half is what is going to see you through. Ejutukumokikamaki sa ushte yandiakoka. Ezatioka komokike eshusha. Eshusha shamuya. Laugh more. It's raising your frequency. Eshtukamokikamaki ezutuyo shoshiumbaka. Ezatiashia. Esakamokike se etushteo shushiana makike. Ezukoya. So much love to you all and to everybody watching. Don't worry, you're not alone. You're not alone. And here am I, look, I'm watching my rub my nose because that means you're telling a lie and I'm panicked. The people think I'm lying. She really did have an itchy nose.
She's telling the truth.
We're not alone. Do you think that when they talk about galactic federations and channels and legions and guides, do you think they are the people that inhabit these crystal cities and these realms, and they're the ones cheering us on? Like, they're aware that we can almost see it. We can almost see them again, almost see our original family. Like, and then are we doing that on a like some hardcore spiritual ascension, or we are literally just like getting to a different level in the game? Like, how esoteric is it versus like literally we're actually entrapped in a matrix like game right now?
Well,
literally,
I've spoken to somebody who has connected with a level of consciousness, I believe from the 25th dimension or something, and they have told her that this definitely is just a game.
Wow. And
that we're all choosing to be the good guys or the bad guys, or we're choosing to have that experience or this experience, and that eventually they just turn off this one and they go computer in program, and then they go and say, computer, let's start program, run program 49.
Level
and
2.
Program 49 is such and such. So look, what is the truth? Look, honestly, I don't know. I can't tell you definitively. and I'm not told.
Well, we know it's not fixed. We know it's not a fixed physical reality.
Yes.
We definitely know that.
And I think that part of the journey here is to not know, because what happens when you don't know is you find trust. You find connection. You find.
How do you learn?
You learn, exactly. So you are learning so many things in this journey.
Yeah, Tartaria is the best schoolroom ever. It just opens up the whole world as a schoolroom to us. And every dialogue is absolutely high dialogues, high fascinating, like multi-skilled, multi-dimensional dialogues. Like, I know when we talk about Tartaria with each other, we're talking about Tartaria through infinite timelines and infinite versions of ourselves, all accumulating in this like cheer squad. Like, go, you good thing. Go, keep talking. Keep speaking it out. Speak. Say it. Talk it. If you're going to see it, you're going to see it. You're going to see it.
Yeah.
That changes the frequency for sure. And focus on the good stuff. You know, it's kind of come up a little bit, you know, a bit of arguing and a bit of you're right, I'm wrong, but who cares, guys? You can't prove you're right. I can't prove I'm right. This is all, we're working this out together. Let's just enjoy it, have fun, build a new world, you know, like, let's, you know, because we need to be different from everyone. But if we're sitting here arguing with each other about how cool the past was, we're just the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're rising above, right? So, and understand too, just also people with masks on, you kind of mentioned it before, Joe, you know, they're not our enemies. They've just taken the programming a bit heavier. Just smile at them, just say, God, isn't it crap we have to wear these? Make a joke. Because most people, you're going to realize at this point, if you go, oh, isn't this BS? They're going to go, yeah. And you saying that to them might be the catalyst that they go, oh, I'm not the only one that thinks this. Because people still watch the news. So you don't know what one little thing, how that can change someone's life. Just, isn't this BS? Ha, ha, ha. And off you walk. And they're, whoa. And their whole world changes. So that's what we can do.
I mean, the whole exercise we're in right now is that we're growing ourselves. You know, do you remember
Exercise.
Do you remember back?
The evil spirit.
Yeah, that's right. Back in when we were kids, they had a thing called sea monkeys, and there'd be this living. I didn't even know what it was. It's like a little amoeba or something floating around in water. In a castle, in like a Tartarian structure, in a castle, of course. We are like with those little sea monkeys.
Crowds on.
Yeah, that's us. We're the sea monkeys. We are literally like swimming around, royally swimming around with our within our Tartarian like plastic castle, and you know, like ultimately growing ourselves, because that was the whole thing with sea monkeys. You had to grow, like it was about growing them, which is weird, like growing this amoeba into like whatever the hell it was, but anyway, growing it, right? And you know, do you guys know that when you put a turtle, I rescued a turtle in Japan from the back of a bakery. I felt like it was being mistreated just when I was like just before the monastery. It's like, anyway, I was like this big when I rescued it, and it was sitting in a bucket that big.
Pet, didn't you?
I stole something. I know. Anyway, so then I put it in. I thought it was really cool because it was literally in a bucket. It was about that big, and it was in a bucket about that big. So I brought it home and put it in a bucket this big, and swear to God, over the next couple of months, it grew to the size of that bucket.
It just grew.
It kept growing, and then I did some research, and turtles will literally grow to the size of their container. So if I put it in a bathtub, I would have walked home to a dinosaur turtle, a monster turtle, right? And then it would have become like this gimmick in Japan, but. The point is, we are like that turtle. We are the turtles, man. We are literally we grow to the point of our container, and our container is our beliefs. Yes. It's our mind. It's what we're projecting out. It's a level of consciousness we're capable of. So our energetic field grows like the bucket around the turtle. Yes. And Tartaria has taken it very far out here. Yes. So far out here right now that we're literally, I'm almost bigger than Melbourne. I can feel it. I have to go to the desert now because like I've outgrown Melbourne almost.
Well, look, if there's a series of books that I would recommend that everybody read if you've got time, you've got time. There's an Australian author called Tracy Harding, and she has written around 13 or 14 books, and it really bizarrely follows what has been happening on the planet. It's a novel. They're novels. They're not serious, but she weaves in all these amazing concepts, and she weaves in the Nephilim. She weaves in time travel. She weaves in like so many amazing concepts. And she follows this group of souls, 12 souls, who came in the original human form as children, genetically created children of the original Ninhursag or Enki and Enlil. They're in that era. And who they were from Tara. And Tara is the higher frequency of Earth. It's the higher, before Earth fell down, she became Tara.
Tara.
So she was Tara.
Tartaria.
Anyway, these beings that incarnated back here at this original time are here on a rescue mission. And what they have to do is they have to start at the beginning and evolve all the way through as humanity evolves. But so you will get, if you want your mind sort of blown, to have a look at what's been happening on the planet in relation to this, they talk about, there's all the stuff about, SRA, everything in this as well, in this book. But one of the
Crystal City. Do they end up in a
Yes.
crystal city?
Actually, yes, they do. In one point, they do. And they end up there with some ascended masters, one of them being DK, but anyway, look, it's a very long, intricate story, and it is such an excellent series of books. But the interesting thing is she calls it a virus. But I reckon it's an analogy in a way of the AI. And the AI came from another universe.
Yep.
And who brought it here was us, accidentally. And what they end up doing is, once they go through the whole of humanity, they evolve, they become advanced human beings, they do telekinesis, they do all this. And at a certain point, they develop technology where they can go back in time and do past life regressions. And they finally realize that what the reps, the reptilians who brought down humanity, are infected with this AI. And who gave them the AI was us, the advanced souls, accidentally. So we have to go back and stop that moment in time from happening. And what happens is humanity never goes through this shit.
Everything changed. Yeah, right.
So that gives me chills.
What was her name?
Tracy Harding.
All right, we'll find some links to put them below. We should get her on the show. Jeez, that sounds
you really should. She's
Australian, yeah?
Yeah, best-selling fantasy author. What's the book called, Jo?
She starts out with the Ancient Future trilogy. And so what happens is, this woman who's in the here and now ends up going back in time through the stones to the time of King Arthur. But it isn't King Arthur, it's
stones.
The standing stones. Oh, look,
standing stones. Okay, yeah.
She ends up like in
can you see that?
Outlander. Is it Outlander? Yeah. It's like an Outlander.
Highlander. Highlander?
No, the one with the nurse that goes back in time to the Scottish
I know.
The Handmaid's Tale?
No, I know the one you're talking about. It was on for like 7 seasons. Is this it, Jo? Can you see? I've just screen share.
This is it. So an Echo in Time is the first. Ancient Future is the first one, and then she's got the master. Like they're in trilogies, so she does three at a time, and eventually, so she follows this whole. And I know that she's often she's channeling this. I know it because I've read some of the books 2 or 3 times to try and follow them, going backwards and forwards and affecting reality. They keep going back to redo over something that they've screwed up. Just so amazing. And then she goes to a universe parallel and does all this stuff. I mean, just fantastic book.
It sounds like Q, doesn't it? Like Q, this quantum technology from our future. We're the ones we've been waiting for, coming back to help us now. To the and that infinity loop going on.
Yes. And what happens is they go through trillions of years or millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. And they reincarnate as different people. And eventually when they wake up, they remember all their lifetimes. And then they overcome the Nephilim. They teach the Nephilim because they've got more. They're more developed than the Nephilim in this series of books.
Slap them? Slap them?
Well, I tell you, there is...
Do that again.
In the books, there is very much a Q character, although it's not a Q.
Ooh.
And it actually is one of the good Nephilim.
Yep. Well, that's
fantastic, fantastic books.
Perfect,
look,
amazing.
I don't know. Look, it resonates in so many ways, but it gives you this other perspective to look at
what's been going on.
Now. Yeah.
Let's get Tracy Harding. Hello, Tracy, if you're watching.
Tracy Harding. Anyone know Tracy Harding? Contact us.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's amazing. Like
yes.
I love past life regression. I mean, I've recounted probably about 28 of my past lives. It's a very easy thing for me to do. I love going in there, and I can totally see how the chain of events of our notion of past lives and us reincarnating and going through those characters and all of that spiritual soul growth, blah, 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 would have led us to now. Like all of our incarnations have led us to who we are today, to take on board and assimilate this information and to continue forward to become the solution from the future into our past. That makes total sense to me. Yeah.
I agree. It makes total sense. Yeah. But I understand how a lot of people can't. It's a way of looking at life, isn't it? Like we're taught to look sequentially and all this kind of crap, but it's a way of looking at that. Everything is happening now, and everything is the same, and everything's just expression of the same thing. Ultimately, because you could say ultimately that when we get into this, we probably don't even die. We're just changing personas. You know, I mean, what's the whole death thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything's just a lie.
Yeah, I know. That's like linear death and life is like linear time. It's like an illusion, you know?
It's all an illusion. So yes, we're going to go out to the desert. Anyone who's interested or happens like have, I don't know, own a gorge in Central Australia, let us know. But anyone who's interested in coming out, has ideas, let us know, because we want to organise 21st of December, the solstice, isn't it? Summer solstice. Yeah, good date. We'll all get out there, dance around the fire a bit, see what happens, and then go and yell at a Crystal City to appear.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can follow the path of the original people and actually like attempt. And I think in order to do that, we have to find ourselves at that location using magic. Like we have to use our intuition. It has to be nonsensical.
Can't be pre-planned.
Yep. Nonsensical. It has to be innocent. It has to be in no sense. It's got to involve some lamacons. We've got to like bring through this 5D energy. We've got to like trust that we'll be led to the same place. And from there, we're going to just wait to see what is handed to us and to unfold this rainbow bridge so we can actually see it like, you know, wouldn't it be, I mean, you know, hello, I have always termed myself as a master of nonsense. Like that actually own that.com, the master of nonsense. And like, I love nonsense. I thought that is probably the one missing discipline and understanding within the spiritual realm. It's goddamn fucking nonsense. Like we are way too serious in this realm. And if we talk about getting into magic, we've got to go into innocence. As Ramtha said, we have to go into lofty thoughts, you know, where you don't have attitude about it. It's so lofty, you haven't formed a belief structure that's limiting your perception, right? So with us going to the desert, it has to be done magically and nonsensically. And if we can do that within our own beings, whatever that means for us, and find ourselves at a place, I think we've got the amazing potential of experiencing a moment like They Live, the movie They Live, where we actually put our sunglasses on and there it is. La! And I swear to God, you won't all be going, oh my God, a holographic 5D rainbow city. You'll all be going, All right, guys. Well, on that nice note, does anyone have anything they'd like to say before we conclude this awesome Tartaria Australia?
No, I was just going to say, just, you know, remember, like it says, be like children, right? All this nonsensical stuff, laughing, even a bit of the spirit talking. You listen to kids talking to each other. They understand each other, and they will have these things, and they will sit down and they will go, and you'll say, where are you going? We're going to the Crystal City. And they can see it until stupid, big, adults come up and go, don't be stupid. That's not there. Come inside for dinner. So the kids can see it. So let's just be more childlike, get back to that state, and we'll be able to see what we could see as children.
All right. Well, you've just made up my mind, Cambell. We are going to actually put a flyer together inviting people to come to the Crystal City in the middle of Australia. We're going to name it, and no awesome. Map and no address, just like a golden ticket invitation to the Crystal City in the heart of Australia on this date. Tartaria hunters, who is bold enough?
Yeah.
So you can get out your tarots. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? I'll be getting out my drawing pad.
That would be awesome.
All right, I'm doing it. I'm making the invitation. I'm going to put it out there. We're putting it out there. We'll just put it up on a website and see what happens as a result.
I think it's a good idea.
Let the universe do the work. Much easier.
Let the universe. Well, probably let us do the work, but just from the future, looking back and helping us now.
Yeah. Just go and talk to my 12D self. Hang on. Yes.
All right.
And thank you, Jo, for your time and wisdom and readings and laughter. And we'll definitely, we'd love to get you back on in a while and go down this path again.
Sure.
Look, I decided to do a plug for Jo. I've actually done a couple of sessions with Jo in the last couple of weeks, and I found them so perfectly timed for now, profound, so healing for me personally, and has really facilitated a lot of things coming out and up and out and up, that flow, that energy moving out. And I really recommend, if you guys are looking for an energy worker, to sit down with you for a couple and do a session. Jo is a fantastic healer, energy worker, tarot reader. I mean, light language. Hello, you get to hear the light language the whole way through it. Like, it's just a beautiful package you've got together there, Jo. And I for one have been very privileged and honored to do sessions with you, and I'm just forwarding that to our audience. Like, Jo's contact details will be underneath here, and if you guys are feeling it and feeling that desire to connect with an energy worker, I'm recommending our beautiful guest, Jo. So
there you go.
I would love to work with some Tartaria members, Tartaria Australia group.
There you go. So get in contact, guys, if that's what you're looking for. All details will be left below. Think about December 21st, put it out there. Mind your thoughts, keep TV in, and we'll catch you next week.
Back to TV, except for Magicians. That was a good series. I'm very much enjoying it.
Except Magicians.
All right, everyone. You guys have the best day ever. And once again, we'll see you next week for Tartaria, Australia. Woo!
Bye.
Stay awesome.